Today we're trying to get the cab up on the t-250. That's something that's been fighting me ever since I've had it. And we used this thing to raise it up. Before we begin today, if you're watching this, please consider subscribing to our channel and commenting, like. And if you subscribe, that helps us out, and we do appreciate you for riding along. Let's get into it. If you guys have been with us for a while, you know that when we got this machine, that it didn't have any of these shock absorbers on it, and I couldn't get this cab to raise up no matter what I tried. It's just too heavy. And I ordered the shock absorbers, but I couldn't get the brackets. So I looked around at a couple and made my own, and these look very similar to the ones that actually came on the machine. They're offset just a little bit to clear the cab, and they worked okay. I got one on the other side. I got the lock. I could find the shock absorbers in the lock, and I bought the last lock, I think, was in the country. And that's this safety device right here. This locks it, keeps it from falling down on you. And I'm glad to finally get inside this thing, because I've never looked inside of it since I've owned it. I haven't actually worked it. I do see what appears to be a leak back there on the steering controls. I hope that doesn't turn out to be the case. It's awfully clean though, but there was a lot of oil coming out around the rear main seal, and them belts was throwing it everywhere. So I'm hoping that the oil on that right side of the pump was just coming from the belt sling in it. And it's remarkably dry in here. It probably needs a good wash and probably needs a good greasing. And I'm having a problem with charge pressure. It keeps giving me a charge pressure warning. I thought the belt would correct that. The belt did not. And looks like the guy that had it's got 324.21 and 34.30 on the hours, and it ain't hardly got no more hours than that on it right now. And the traffic gates are open. All the cars are coming by. But I'm going to give this thing a wash and get it all cleaned up, and then let it run a little bit and see if I can see any more leaks in there. And I've also got a wrench to dig out in there somewhere that belongs to Matt. And seeing how the guys changed the hydraulic filters, I'm not going to change them. I do have, if you can see that little pressure switch right there on that smaller filter, I'm going to go ahead and change that because I've got one, and that might correct my charge pressure. But what I'm thinking, after digging around a little bit, this thing has a line lock on it somewhere, and that line lock is your parking brake that locks your hydraulics to your drives. And this thing, you can put the brake on, it doesn't change. The light comes on, but it still moves. And I found that it could give you a charge pressure fault if your brake is not working, if your line lock is not working. So I got to figure out where that's at and dig around the book a little bit. And that's probably what's going to wind up being my charge pressure problem. I'm going to have to replace that. It's probably just a solenoid. I'll just have to find it. But this part down in here is pretty clean. I wonder why this thing still has the tunnel in it, even though it's a track machine. I guess they use the same frame for all of them. But we'll get it cleaned up and we'll take a good look and see what we can. cleaned up a little bit. I was mainly interested in getting all the dirt off the tracks because I'm going to go through and paint these tracks up, paint them back gray. I think they're supposed to be gray. I know the steps are black and some of the other stuff's black. The cylinders are gray. I think the cab might be gray, but it's too rusty to tell. I got to tighten this track up. When I jack it up to paint it, I might even take the tracks off. I don't know. I ain't decided. Not something I look forward to. That cleaned up really nice down in there. Now I'll be able to start it and run it and see what leaks and what doesn't. I'm going to blow it off real good with an air gun before I try to attempt to do anything. I'm going to let it drain for a little while, then I'll come out here and blow it off. We got two little machines, but what I was talking about earlier, when I had to raise this top up, I put a strap on this mini excavator, this 328, and hooked it to the bars on the front, put it over the cab and pulled the cab up. I got it up there where it was kind of over center a little bit, and then I was able to fit these shock absorbers on and get them on there like they're supposed to be. That one probably needs a spacer in it, but I'm not going to put one in it. It was really hard to get on there. I got mud all over it already. There goes the school bus. So I'm going to let this drain for a little while, then we'll come back to it. We'll take a look at it and see how it looks down inside there. Now we got to see if we can't get this sensor off of here. That hose are out in the way. That's no good. The clip is right on the stinking hose. Three wire. That's what we're looking for. Inch and a quarter. Oh. I'm afraid it's gonna puke hydraulic fluid. Well, no puking hydraulic fluid. Is it even getting any hydraulic fluid? Seems like it's got something in it. Take my pocket knife, poke around in it. That's just oil. The two pieces look the same. Oh, they don't look the same. That one you can't see the stems. You can see them in this one. Maybe they're not the same. That's going to hook up though. I think. Maybe. Yeah, it hooks up. Maybe. The new one has a larger orifice. I don't know if that matters or not. Oh, that one you can see the stems in it. They're just black. Like they're not be getting any connection. See if we can get it back in. Apparently this one's standard thread with an O-ring, and And the one that I've got is a pipe thread, and it flares out. And they're not the same. The threads are bigger on my replacement piece. I ended up putting the old one back on. The other one has tapered threads, and this one has straight threads, so it won't even thread in there. It'll start, but it immediately feels like it's going to cross thread. It's not cross thread, and it's just tapered. Put the old one back in. See how that does. Let it run for a little bit. See what shows up on our hydraulic fluid. We'll let it run about 5 or 10 minutes. Then we'll shut it off and take a look and see if it's oozing anywhere. Well, we didn't see any leaks. I got to send off and get the correct charge pressure sensor. I see maybe 2 hoses on here that's been replaced. But that's no big deal. Happens all the time. Most of these are steel lines. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Probably very expensive. A couple things I still have to do to this. I got to change that charge pressure sensor. Also, I believe I'm going to go ahead and change the K-strain filters, but since they've changed all, they've serviced everything, they probably changed them too. I don't know that until I look. I see one K-strain filter right down there in the bottom. I don't see the other one, but I'm sure it's close. I got her closed up. The shock absorbers are fantastic. They closed it right up without no trouble at all, and they opened it up with no trouble at all, so I got that going for me. And I'm just going to back it back into the garage. I'm going to go take a ride on this Mini. I haven't driven it but once since I got it. Get up here and go for a ride on it. I think I got the seat firm enough where it don't bounce too much. Well, the battery ran down right when I got on the mini excavator and started driving around. But I've got all the machines. Got this one back in the building, the other one back where it goes. I guess that's it for tonight. I've done a few little handy tasks on this thing, like getting those shocks on there. I was stressing over them because it's kind of hard to do, but it's did. And thanks for watching. Please subscribe. We'll see you guys on the next one. Stay clean, everybody.